The federal government has reached an interim deal with Cat Lake First Nation to help it recover from a housing crisis. It happened today during a meeting in Thunder Bay between the Indigenous Services Minister, Seamus, and the First Nations chief. The community recently declared a state of emergency and was considering evacuations as the health of many local people deteriorated. This week, a woman passed away, and her family says mold infestation is to blame. The CBC's Connie Walker was in Thunder Bay for that meeting, and she joins us now from there. Hi, Connie. Thanks for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Hi, Vashi.
Can you tell us what's in this agreement?
Well, the big news is more houses for the Cat Lake First Nation. Minister Seamus was here today in Thunder Bay, meeting with Chief and Council from Cat Lake First Nation to announce that they've finally come to an agreement a month after a state of emergency was declared in this community. What they've agreed to is money to build 26 new houses in the community, money to bring up 10 new portable trailers over the winter road in the next few weeks or in the next month or so, and the funding to repair 21 units. So that is, essentially about 57 homes in the community that will either be brand new or, to be repaired. And that obviously sounds like a lot, but this is a community that has a great need. An independent report that was issued earlier this year found that 87 of the houses in that community are actually in need to be replaced or completely demolished. So, there was some good news from Chief and Council today. They said that they are happy that this is a start. They have been a little bit frustrated by the pace of the action, but the bottom line is they say that they're very concerned about the health of their community members and that they don't want to lose anyone else.
And what happens next?
Well, next steps are really dependent on the ice road, the winter road to Cat Lake. It's a flying community about 600 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. So all of the material that's needed to build these new units, all of the portable houses will have to go up on the ice road, and it's really anyone's guess how long that ice road is going to be open. And there's a lot of preparation that has to happen before that. And they also have to prioritize needs within the community, right? There is significant health issues in the community that a lot of people think is due to the severe mold problem in the community. We told you last night about the death of a community member on Monday here in Thunder Bay that her family believes, was the contributing factor was the mold that she lived with. There's other children who have been medically evacuated out of the community. There are specialists and pediatricians who are doing assessments right now in the community, and they're really trying to get a sense of just how widespread this health issue is. Chief and Council said today that although this is a start, they may still need to evacuate families if they don't have enough units in enough time, and if people are still dealing with these effects of living with these housing issues.
Okay, thank you so much, Connie. The CBC's Connie Walker for us in Thunder Bay. Seamus O'Regan is the Minister of Indigenous Services, and he joins us now from Thunder Bay. Hi, Minister. Thanks very much for making time for us.
Hi, Vashi. Thank you.
Minister O'Regan, how does the interim framework agreement that was announced today immediately address the housing crisis in Cat Lake?
Well, what we had developed with the community over the past number of days and weeks is a framework timeline, and basically something that would say day one begins now. So we were all anxious that day one be today. So as of today, the sources of funding and all the planning that we needed to do begin now. And that was really important because we're dealing with tight timelines here. It's the urgency of having a winter road that's only open for literally now weeks. And that means that we only have weeks to make sure that we get the materials up there that we need in order to build the houses that are needed in Cat Lake. So everybody was feeling a sense of urgency. I've said it many times before in the House that we do take the leadership here is they're in the driver's seat, and we take our cues from them. But they were feeling the urgency as well, and it worked out that I could come here, that we could sit down in person, and that we felt close enough to come to a deal that we could come to a deal.
The chief of Cat Lake said after the meeting that it wasn't easy to come to an agreement, that there were, quote, differences of opinion. What were those differences?
Oh, I mean, I think that the normal, negotiations and differences of opinion, but ultimately, I think that what we had to agree on are the things that, you can't negotiate. You can't negotiate the condition of a winter road or the limitations of just being in a remote northern community. And you know, those things were pressing on all of us. But you know, once we realized that, look, how do we get the houses up there that we need? And this agreement it deals with 57 new housing units. So you're talking about 36 new housing units or new portable units, and you're dealing with some 21 renovations and repairs. And right now, you know, we're going through the process of determining which ones we demolish, to be honest with you, and build new ones in their place, and which ones we can renovate and repair. And that now begins full throttle.
You said 50, I think you said 57. According to a report commissioned by Cat Lake, 87 houses in the community need to be completely replaced. Is the number that you're putting forward going to cut it?
Yeah, well, the problem is, again, it's just capacity. It's how much can we get up the road. So, I mean, these are numbers that we arrived on with the community. How much can we get over a road? How much can we store? One of the first amendments that we made this morning when I got off the plane and sat down with the community was storage. You know, just making sure that we have the storage space up there first, so that as we bring materials up there, they're stored away without getting moldy, because you can have conditions in the north where you have fluctuating temperatures. You bring up wood, you leave it outside, that wood can get moldy before we've even begun building the house, which didn't make a lot of sense. So, you know, we heard them loud and clear, and I just said, yeah, storage first, absolutely, makes total sense.
I take your point on the inherent challenges, of course, via the road, via the location, but how is your government going to measure success here? When medical evacuations stop happening every 3 days, which is the current average, what's your timeline to fix the crisis? Like, what concrete things can you tell us will happen and by when?
Well, you want to make sure that children are well and that they're living in homes. And you know, in terms of the timeline, Vashi, there are so many limits, and we do take our cues from the community. You know, we were all, I think any Canadian who saw the pictures of children, and you know, you're deeply troubled by that. You know, it's obvious that for some of these homes, mold is an issue. You know, we recently had a death there in Cat Lake of a community member, and you know, recognizing that, I asked the leadership if they wanted to hold off on this meeting, but you know, they wanted to persevere and continue with the meeting while at the same time mourning that community member. And you know, time is of the essence, and you know, we just want to make sure that we look after families and children, and that we get new homes there where we can get them.
I take your point again about what you say about there being a lot of limits and taking your cues from the community, but the community has been asking for help with this crisis since 2006. Does the federal government feel a sense of responsibility for the unbelievably terrible conditions they live in right now?
We've spent about $140 million since 2016, I think, in Northern Ontario alone on housing. You know, is it enough? No. Do we need to do more? Yes. You know, it's very difficult when you're dealing with these conditions. It's very difficult, I think, for any Canadian when they look at these pictures to say, you know, this is, I think we all react the same way. This is not how people should be living in Canada. So, you know, just move on and move forward. And, you know, once we sat down with the leadership, we just said, okay, what can we do right now, given the limitations that we have? And you know, they feel good about today with the understanding that this is a beginning.
Have you been to Cat Lake, Minister, or are you going?
I will be going, and as part of this agreement, I've agreed to get up there within the next couple of weeks. That was a very easy thing for me to agree to. I want to get up there, and I'm anxious to get up there, and I will be getting up there, and you know, seeing the conditions firsthand. But hopefully, within 2 weeks, also seeing some progress.
And how much money is the government committing to this interim agreement, this fix right now?
This a little over $10 million. And that includes everything from the planning to providing training capacity. Very interesting, you know, two of the things that the community mentioned today that they wanted included is to build on their own capacity. They just want somebody who can help them maintain homes and to teach others how to maintain their homes. You know, and they want the training and the capacity for that, and to make that a permanent position. You know, we haven't decided what to call it. We were having some fun. You know, is it a superintendent? Is it? We're not sure, but you know, that was very interesting. They also want to be able to develop their own financial capacity to look after, you know, their finances, you know, the chief, the council, and the administration, so that they have a greater sophistication as they deal with more money coming in, and they can deal with it, you know, responsibly and respectfully, you know, recognizing the conditions of their community. Those are signs of growth, and those are signs of a community wanting to take responsibility for its future, and we're there for them.
So beyond that initial $10 million commitment, is there a longer-term fiscal commitment? specific to this issue?
This is the beginning, and you hit on actually another point that we agreed on, which is that we would work the community on long-term, on planning. They've recently acquired some adjacent land within the reserve. They want to know if that, possibly that could be land that future housing could be built on. If that's the case, what infrastructure would they need? And we'll look at that with them.
But nothing at this point beyond that $10 million and the initial plan.
No, but this is, over an 18-month period. This is a good start.
Okay, thank you so much, Minister O'Regan. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Fashion.